Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look in this training module at understanding our idle control basics and fundamentals. This is going to be applicable for both a Mustang and an F-150 application. We're going to be using the information we learned here to apply into the next few tutorials, talking about the tuning changes we need to make based on what our idle control is doing. We're going to be looking at our VCM scanner, looking at a stock calibration file here in this tutorial, looking at some data logs in our scanner and pairing that together with some of the tables and just understanding how the system actually functions and works so that when we want to go in and program, let's say, some of our torque-based control, which is idle control here is a torque-based system, we know exactly what to edit and what to do and what to expect when we make our changes. So we're going to be breaking this down in a couple tutorials. So we're going to be very specific with this, and you can refer back to the specific tutorial to do a certain tuning task. For example, if you want to know how to just simply change your idle speed targets, we're going to have a tutorial for that. If we want to know how to go in and deal with your closed loop feedback system and what to expect, maybe we want to slow down or speed up the control, I have a tutorial for that. And then if you have any torque-based tune changes you want to make to influence the torque control and influence your idle speed, let's say you want to open the throttle blade more, or you want to have more spark timing in idle, there's certain changes that we make. So we're going to be breaking this all down into separate training modules and talking about the unique steps and changes we need to make based on what our idle is doing. But the fundamentals is what we want to cover here in this training module, and just understanding all of the intricacies of the Gen 3 idle control routine. What we're going to do right now is open up a stock file to start off our tutorial here. Let's go to File, let's go to Open, and I'm going to jump into the training course folder, into our sample calibration file subfolder, and let's go ahead and open up a stock file here. So open up a 2020 Mustang GT stock. We're going to move into Engine, and we're going to go here, General, over to Idle Control, and we're going to find that we have 4 tabs to deal with idle control tuning. We have a General tab, RPM tab, Airflow tab, and then finally a Torque tab. Now, we're going to go over just a brief overview here of how this torque control system works. It's a closed loop system with both short and long-term adjustments in its control routine, and we'll find the idle control, because it is going to be torque based, we'll find that it has the ability to move both the throttle angle and the spark timing to influence the engine's torque at idle, and it'll actually do both at the same time to get the idle speed to where it wants to be, what we program in our idle control targets. So let's go through this real quick and just understand the fundamental, the basics. Then we're going to take a look at a data log and learn the different modes that the idle control is going to operate in, because that's important. You can break down what the idle control is doing and then what tables we need to go after based on how it's performing in the different modes, okay? So the first thing we need to understand here is that it's a closed loop system. We give the idle control a desired target idle speed, and we compare that to our actual idle speed. Whatever the difference is between the actual and the target, the control system is going to make adjustments and updates. It's going to be doing that through both moving the throttle blade opening and the spark timing feedback. So we have both a slow path of control, which is our throttle blade movement, and a fast path of control, which is our spark timing feedback. It uses both to do the idle control and essentially get us to the desired torque target and the idle speed that we want to idle at. If we go here to RPM, to keep this real simple, we specify in various different conditions what we want to have our desired idle speed at for both startup conditions, for both warming up, so start up the engine cold, we're warming up, where the idle speed should be at, and on a warm idle, if you're automatic, there'll be park neutral, and there'll be drive settings. So depending on the load on the engine with the transmission, we'll program different targets. That's where it starts from. Then it's going to go into this closed loop feedback, where again we take a look at actual idle speed versus our target speed. If we're over the desired target speed or under the desired target speed, it will then start to move the throttle and or the spark timing to achieve that new desired the idle speed that we're commanding. Now, what's really going on behind the scenes is that there's actual torque target it's after. So if we command a certain idle RPM here in any of our idle control programming for the idle control RPM we want to be at, it's really going to be correlating that to a desired torque target. And it knows, based on our airflow model, based on our spark timing, based on the command at lambda, it knows exactly what the engine's torque output is going to be. So if we know where we want the torque and we know what the engine's torque output is going to be, it's easy to figure out and work out what it needs to do in terms of the throttle blade opening or closing and the spark timing, either advancing it or retarding it, to achieve the desired target torque and therefore the desired target idle RPM. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, as I mentioned, it's a closed loop system. So if we jump here into airflow and we take a look, over to torque, and we take a look here at our feedback, this is going to be specifying the closed loop feedback that happens in the control system. So we find here we have proportional and integral gains. This is what drives the throttle opening or closing and the spark timing feedback in this idle control routine.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.